Fox Sports.
We are Fox. We are South.
The comeback kids were at it again last night in another dramatic game at SunTrust Park. Swing and a high fly ball hammered deep left, and this game is tied. Line drive headed for the left field corner. That's down for a hit. Brandon Phillips with a 3-hit night puts Atlanta in front. Swing and a drive. That's going to go to the wall. He picked the right Adams. Here comes Dansby to third. He's Wade. He's going to score. Wade Adams clears him with a double. Swing and a high fly ball belted toward the chop house. It's into the second level of the chop house. A mammoth homer. Get ready for another entertaining matchup as the Braves try to sweep the Snakes next. It's a beautiful afternoon in Atlanta, Georgia, and another packed house is gathering here at SunTrust Park, hoping to see the Braves take 3 in a row from the visiting Arizona Diamondbacks. Hi again, friends, with Paul Bird, Chip Carey. Welcome back to the ballpark. Partner, it's been a fun 2 games for the Atlanta Braves. They've picked up 2 games in the wild card standings, with Arizona and Colorado slumping so mightily. And improved play has been the story for Brian Sitker's ball club dating back to the 1st of June.
No, you're right on, Chip, and I've said before, you eat an elephant one bite at a time. You don't try to do too much. When you were behind in the division, you like that one. When you're behind in the division by a lot, you don't try to win everything in one game. You take it, again, one game at a time. Look at that Atlanta Braves record, 3rd best record in Major League Baseball since June 12th. Last 13 home games, 9-4 record. And you know what, Chip? We got a chance today for a little sweep.
He's got the broom ready. Hopefully Jaime Garcia is up to the challenge. He's got the ball for Atlanta. Zach Godley is the man on the hill for Arizona. Perfect day for baseball. We'll see if Atlanta can send the Diamondbacks further on the road with frowning faces next.
Sports South is presented by your local Hyundai dealers.
Another warm day here at SunTrust Park as the Braves try to continue their good play. Atlanta starts action only a game below 500 at 44 and 45 on the year. Atlanta trying to become the 7th team in the National League to get to the 500 or better mark. To do that, Paul, Jaime Garcia's got to turn things around very quickly today.
You're right on, Chip. Look at those first 10 starts. Great ERA. I'm not worried about the win-loss record early, but here's the big difference in the last 10. Look at that opponent average. Hitters hitting much better against Jaime late on those last 6 starts, and you are right on. Need him today.
Ford keys for Jaime Garcia to complete the sweep today.
Well, tall and fall. He's got to stay tall on that back side. What that does is it creates angle down in the zone. And when he is down in the zone, the ball slips sliding away. It's going to move left. It's going to move right. And when you have late movement as a hitter, that's really hard to combat. Again, staying down in the zone, getting ahead, staying tall. We'll see what happens.
Jaime's had good luck against the Diamondbacks, 5-1, and Torey Lovullo's club, if they have an Achilles heel, it's their work against left-handed pitching. And A.J. Pollock leads off their Toyota starting 9. Paul Goldschmidt hits third. Jake Lamb's the third baseman. Arizona hitting just .225, the 29th best batting average against left-handed pitching this year. Hopefully that'll help Jaime Garcia in his effort to win game number 3 in a Braves uniform today. And with that, we're underway. A called strike. Ryan Blakeney's got the plate. 75 degrees with some cloud cover. That'll keep the patrons cool today. And another gigantic gathering here at SunTrust Park. In fact, last night the Braves had their largest ever crowd in the young history of the stadium. 41,627 paid to see Game 2. Garcia ready. His 1-1 pitch is a little tapper in front of the plate. Flowers pounces and throws to first in time. A swinging bunt gets Pollock. 1 down.
Nice pitch on the changeup there. Again, staying down in the zone. He will get a lot of ground balls. Garcia, ball cutting, moving, good curve ball. Important for him to set the tone early, which he's doing. And I got to say this, Chip. Blakeney's going to have a bigger zone than Nauert did last night, so that will affect the game, and it's an opportunity for a pitcher when you know that to get ahead early and try to go for those corners and get rewarded.
Yeah, Paul Nauert had a very tight zone last night. It was a consistently tight zone. So you're right. We'll see what adjustments the hitters and the pitchers make with Blakeney behind the plate today. David Peralta takes inside. 1 ball, no strikes. Peralta's one of the better hitters for Arizona against left-handed pitching at .264 for the season. And he takes a strike.
Very important, too, that you keep those leadoff guys on. Pollock and Peralta both can impact the game in different ways. Peralta, Mr. Energy, hard worker, motivated. But the big deal is Goldschmidt coming up next with Owings. You want those bases empty when the big boppers walk up.
That's pulled foul by Peralta. 1 ball and 2 strikes. With all the talk about Arizona and their issues against lefties, it's been mentioned a lot in the papers, on the internet blogs, that as the trade deadline approaches, Arizona's looking for some right-handed pop. One of their players who could help them is Yasmani Tomas. He's out with a groin problem. They've really had to shuffle their outfield the last couple of seasons. So we'll see how aggressively Arizona pursues another offensive player, as Torey Lovullo's clubs lost 10 of its last 13 games, including the first 2 here against the Braves. 2 balls, 2 strikes, bases empty. And outside, full count. We had 19 of these last night. There's our first today. Swing and a miss. There's some of that late movement you were talking about, Paul. And Peralta swung over the top. He's the first strikeout victim.
That's it right there. Garcia trying to expand the plate on the previous 2 pitches. Now he goes for the 3rd. Even got a little middle, but again, down in the zone with that good late movement for the big strikeout.
And as you mentioned, here's how you want to face the Diamondbacks number 3 hitter, Paul Goldschmidt. 21 homers, 70 RBIs. Goldschmidt 3 for 9 in this series. And an inside corner strike.
I've been really impressed with him, as much off the field as on. Torey Lovullo describing him as very humble. He's one of the best players in the league, but walking in the clubhouse, you would never know it by the way he carries himself. Easy to pull for.
That's taken a little bit low.
And if you're a youngster watching this game, I want to encourage you, because Paul Goldschmidt, when he was 14 years old, was only kept on Kyle Drabeck. Remember Doug Drabeck? Kyle Drabeck's son was only kept on his travel team because they all liked him so much. He hit last. He wasn't very good. And it shows you what hard work can do.
One of the best players in the game. And he takes a little low. 2 balls and a strike.
So he went to Texas State, and the Diamondbacks picked him in the 8th round. It wasn't like they got it right. But again, another testament to him getting better each year and working very, very hard, and pays a lot of attention to other aspects of the game, not just the bat, base running and fielding.
Well, he's a 5-time All-Star. He's won the Silver Slugger Award twice. He's a 2-time Gold Glover, and he's finished 2nd in the MVP race in the National League 2 separate times. And with all due respect to the Diamondbacks, if this guy played in New York or Chicago or LA, everybody would know about it. And there's ball 4. Garcia pitches around Goldschmidt to get to Chris Owings. Something to follow as this game goes on. Part of the troubles for Jaime Garcia during this rough 4-game losing streak is 2-out trouble. Look at that batting average against Garcia when he gets to 2 outs in an inning. 9th worst in the National League. Now, not a hit for Goldschmidt, but it brings up Owings, who's the Arizona cleanup man with 2 out.
Normally you don't have to pay attention to a power first baseman, but Goldschmidt, with 14 stolen bases on the year, leading the team, tied with Pollock, you have to pay attention to him because he will take second base. It's a great situation to go.
Fly ball left center. Ender on the run. He's going to get there. And Owens jumped on the first pitch and nearly split the gap. Instead, Arizona's retired in the 1st inning. Atlanta goes to work. Oh, sorry, Paul.
I don't know that he's getting into that as much as I did, Chip. Again, it looks like he's doing just simply a curl with his left hand, maybe an upright row, and he's talking as he's doing it. I don't know.
Rhythmically, I would give Murph a C+, but that's better. There we go.
Yeah.
But that's not as easy as you made it look.
Somebody must have said, no, it's not. I don't know, 40, 50 pounds. It's metal so that it can light up. And again, not as easy with the weight. And Chip, if you're rhythmically challenged like I am, again, sometimes you just got to stop.
Murph, I think, gave up the ghost. He's tired. I'm just going to use the hand. Good idea. As Zach Godley goes to the mound for Arizona. This young man has really been a pleasant surprise for Arizona as they try to fill the rotation spot vacated by Shelby Miller in his Tommy John surgery.
Pretty good company right there. That ERA says it all. 65. He's strong early in the game, middle of the game, and then his command gets better as the game goes on, and he's even excellent third time through the order. So want to get to this guy early and establish a tone.
So the first pitch to Ender Inciarte is whistled out of play. Ender has had a terrific series against his former mates. He's 5 for 9. He scored 3 runs in the first 2 games. And had his 9th 3-hit game last night. And a shot over short. He's had it again. He's 6 for 10 in this series. And a good start for Inciarte in the bottom of the first inning. 118 hits for Ender Inciarte this year.
He's the best in the game at just hitting the ball where it's pitched. Now watch, he's choked up. This ball is up and in. He doesn't try to pull it. He hits it the other way. What's interesting about this, Chip, he's got 7 home runs on the year, so he can take you deep. So he will change his approach up based on the pitcher, based on what he's looking for. Regardless, he gets the job done.
Speaking of getting the job done, how about Brandon Phillips? A 3-hit night for Phillips yesterday, including a game-tying homer in the 3rd. He's 8th homer of the year, and he hits one over short. That's headed for the gap in left center. That's going to get down and roll to the wall. Here comes Ender around 3rd. He's going to score, and the Braves jump in front 1-0.
.22 double on the year, and I got to tell you, Chip, he has really benefited from that all-star break. He has come out on fire, a little slump before, but he's a professional hitter, going down and getting it, throwing the hands. That's, again, another good pitch. Gottlieb's got to be a little worried right now, like, hey, these guys are hot. Not the way he wanted to start out.
Now he's got to deal with Freddie Freeman, who's 2 for 2 against Godley, including a home run. Braves have seen Zach before. No decision last August 22nd. He gave up 7 runs in 5 innings in what was a wild 9-8 shootout. Godley's from Braves country, out of Chapin, South Carolina, and the University of Tennessee. Got a ton of friends and family here watching him pitch today at SunTrust Park.
See, nice cutter right there. Previous pitch was a curveball. It's tough when you throw a curve and cutter and you work both off of each other. The cutter right there looks like a fastball after you see a curveball that's slower and goes down. It's easy to read a cutter as a fastball when you follow the curve.
Phillips at second, nobody out. 2-strike pitch. And bounced up there, and a nice stop by Jeff Mathis. Well, to tell you how rare it is what the Braves are doing against Godley here in the first inning. And granted, we're only 3 hitters into the game. In Godley's last 5 starts, he's allowed a total of 16 hits. The Braves have 2 hits by their first 2 hitters in the bottom of the opening inning. One ball, 2 strikes. And Freeman went fishing, chased the ball across his shoe tops. And he's out number 1 via a swinging strikeout. So you know who the first 3 hitters are in the Braves Toyota starting 9. Kemp, Markakis, Matt Adams back in there at first base. Tyler Flowers behind the plate. Dansby Swanson, Jaime Garcia 8th and 9th. So 1 out, 1 in. Matt Kemp the batter. Matt's got 3 hits in the series. 12 homers, 41 knocked in.
talked to Matt earlier today. He ascribes to the Ted Williams philosophy is the most important thing is just to get a good pitch to hit. He doesn't go up there and think mechanics, stay back, keep my hands here. He really tries to lock in on his zone, get the ball up, and get a good pitch to hit.
Nice play on a short hop. It's only a guess, but it's human nature to think that Godley might be a little amped up with all of his friends and family here.
Always tough to pitch in front of your home crowd. Chip, I had 123 in Cincinnati growing up in Louisville, Kentucky, following the Big Red Machine. So when everybody showed up, it was hard to pitch. You get amped up, you get nervous. You want to show your stuff.
Fly ball towards center. Pollock's going to catch that. And no advance by Phillips. And that's the second out of the inning. Nick Markakis coming up. Nick's 1 for 8 in the series, batting .280. He too has seen Godley before, and it's been a matchup to his liking. He was 2 for 3 against him back in August of last year.
This is an important at bat. We talked about Godley coming into his own a little bit this year, settles in as the game goes on. He's good early, but he's also good late. So you want to get to him early. This is an important run to try and get in.
Well, he is bouncing baseballs all over the batter's box area, and Mathis has saved him a couple of wild pitches. That's excellent work behind the plate.
With the change of the new front office, they really went into detail and decided, we want catchers that receive well. We want catchers that call a good game, take care of the young guys. We don't necessarily want hitting catchers. If they can hit, great, that's a bonus, but it's not our first priority. Mathis and Iannetta being their choices and doing a great job.
One ball, one strike. Well, it is rare to see Arizona carry 3 catchers. Doesn't happen all that often anymore. In fairness, though, Chris Herman has been playing some left field too, so Torey Lovullo does have some flexibility with how he aligns his battery. It's Mathis working with Zach Godley, who trails by a run. Back-to-back hits by Inciarte and Phillips. The old daily double came into play. Phillips with his 22nd 2-base hit. And a shot to second, and a leaping play by Owings. And that will retire the side. Nick hit it on the button, but the Braves are out of further luck. 1-0 Bravos after 1 at home.
For all, for less.
1-0 Atlanta. We finished the first inning. Another big crowd on hand on a picture perfect Chamber of Commerce day. 75 degrees in mid-July in Atlanta. We'll take that, won't we?
Absolutely.
Also take another win by the Braves if they can get it. Braves trying to complete their third sweep of a 3-game or longer series this year. Their last was a 3-game sweep in Oakland before the All-Star break.
What a difference a year makes. First half last year for the Braves was a little rough. Acquired Matt Kemp, got some protection. Guys started hitting better, played very well in the second half. Picked up a few guys this year. We got a new stadium and a lot of energy around the Atlanta Braves. Great farm system, good draft picks.
Taken low by Jake Lamb. 1 ball, 1 strike.
And a fun team to talk about and broadcast.
Yeah, well, it's fun to play meaningful games, and this is a big one for the Braves. They've gotten close to 500 a couple of times before stubbing their toe and falling back a bit. If Atlanta can win today, they'll become the 7th team in the National League to have a 500 or better record. And once you get to 500, that's when you sort of take a look at where you are in the standings. And by standings, we mean the Eastern race and the wild card race. And that's the most fun to talk about with roughly 2.5 months of regular season games to be played. And a long way to go in this one before we salt it away. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Lamb stays alive. It's still 1-2.
So Lamb changed his swing last year, started dropping tanks. What he did was he moved his hands down, as you can see right there. Before they were up and the bat went in and out of the zone like a Nike swoosh. That one you see the bat stays on plane, stays in the zone longer.
But not long enough to make contact on Garcia, who has his 2nd swinging strikeout in as many innings.
Nice slider starting out middle, so you get that good chase. Very tough on the lefty. And again, you're right, Chip. Doesn't matter how long your bat stays in the zone if the ball isn't.
Well, Lamb finally made the All-Star team. Might have been one of the biggest oversights last year in the National League. He had a 20 homer, 60 RBI year working, but was not named to the National League All-Star team last year. He was this season, and very similar numbers. Good for him. As Ketel Marte, the shortstop, gets the start, hitting .240 on the year, a switch hitter.
This is the guy the Diamondbacks are trying to decide. He fits in the plan somewhere. They're trying to figure out if it's at shortstop. He was leading the minor leagues in hits when he got called up. Has only been up a short time.
Well, if he's a great athlete, which you'd presume he would be, playing shortstop, and they need outfield help, I wonder if that would be something that Arizona might consider. The advantage for him is he switch hits, and they're looking for some right-handed hitting to counterbalance opposing left-handed starters and relievers.
Absolutely. You have to put the right team out on the field. You have to play the hand that's dealt to you. So, you know, Lamb is not the best third baseman. Drury is. He's a more natural third baseman. It works better for Drury to play over here at second base, move around a little bit. You know, you look at our infield right now, Freddie Freeman at third base with Adams at first. It just works, and you have to say, what is the best 9 that I can run out there?
That's hit hard towards center. Ender broke in but recovered. That ball found an extra gear and kept on rising, and Inciarte reached up and made the play for the 2nd out.
We always see Ender taking great routes, but the outfielders will tell you the toughest ball to read is the line drive that's right at you, because you don't know how much thump it's got on it. Marte put a little juice behind that one, and Ender recovered.
2 up, 2 down. Let's see if Garcia can retire his former Cardinal teammate Daniel Descalso. This guy's been a tough out in the series. Little roller. Another former Cardinal, Matt Adams, makes the play. That was an old St. Louis special right there. And Garcia retires Arizona 1-2-3 in inning number 2. say interesting mound habits.
He does, Chip. A middle linebacker in high school. Mike Butcher, the pitching coach, calls him the bull in the china shop. And look at that sprint. As fast as that looked, Chip, they had to tone that down because earlier in the year he came flying over, slid on the top dugout and bit it. So they said, hey, here's the rule. You can sprint once you get off the grass. You got to tone down, start walking.
You know, if I were you, I'd be worried because the way Godley sprinted off the mound toward the dugout, he looks like he's in much better position to challenge the Freeze than you. And if you missed the broadcast last night, after the Freeze won his race, Paul Bird, without hesitation, laid down the gauntlet and said he wants to challenge the Freeze to a race here at SunTrust Park. I don't know if the particulars have been set up. This might be Floyd Mayweather-esque negotiating going on, but where are we?
Well, I got a little ahead of myself, but I'm sticking to it. I am coming for you. Got up this morning, drank 6 raw eggs, chased a rooster. Finished watching Rocky. I'm fired up. I'm ready to go. Freeze. I still believe in my call out. I'm ready for you.
Well, you may not win the race, but you're going to win the battle of cholesterol. That's for sure. As Matt Adams leads off the Atlanta second. Matt at 291, 14 homers. He's knocked in 42, and he pulls one just foul past first.
Nice to see Matt getting back in there. And I really thought Brian Snitker had an incredible coaching move last night where he could have pinch hit Matt Adams late in the game off a righty. Instead, he pinch hit Lane Adams, a righty-righty matchup. But if you noticed, the pitcher had a great changeup. And it was just a beautiful move where Lane Adams came through, big double, scored 3. And looking at it, the lefty-righty matchup would have made more sense. But if you paid attention to those numbers, a great call by Brian Snitker, and a big shout out to Lane Adams for making him look good and coming through.
That was a fun game last night.
It was.
Kind of an exasperating game, I'm sure, from the pitcher's standpoints with regards to the tight zone. But a lot of action, 24 hits, 13 runs. If you like seeing pitches, you saw 327 of them. And a swing and a miss. That gets away from Mathis. He can't find it. And Adams will end up at first base on a ball in the dirt. It's been an effective pitch for Godley, but that time it bounced too far away from the catcher, who reaches on a strikeout and wild pitch.
That's that power curve that goes straight down. Now everything that Godley throws moves. Cutter, sinker, and power curve stays down in the zone. That's a rare miss by Mathis, who's a great defensive catcher, and great heads-up base running by Adams, taking off down to first.
Tyler Flowers bats. Braves a run on 2 hits. Little chopper hit to the left side. There'll be one play. It's to first as Marte takes care of the Atlanta catcher, but it's a productive out. Runner at second. 1 man down. Here's Dansby. Dansby got the start last night. Was 0 for 2. Walked a couple of times. Scored a run. He's had a, shall we say, hot and cold here at the plate. Right now he's in one of those cold spells. 4 hits in his last 36 at bats, covering 13 Braves games. And if you haven't followed the Braves of late, we had a graphic of about a week and a half ago or so that Dansby Swanson has seen more sliders than any other batter in National League play. And I would assume that's going to be the calling card for Godley here.
And that's no secret. The advanced scouting report is so good today that if you have a weakness, it's found out pretty quickly. He and both Kemp struggle with sliders, and you know, you have a couple choices. Start hitting the slider better, or don't miss the fastball. Because as a pitcher, if I know you struggle with sliders, I'm still going to throw you a fastball. I'm not going to throw you 10 sliders and give away 10 breaking balls just to you. But in crunch time, when I'm ahead in the count, you're going to get the slider.
Well, look at how Arizona's playing Dansby on the infield, and look how far Goldschmidt is off the first base line. If Dansby just poked one of those sliders and swung late, he might pick up an extra base hit with a gaping hole between Goldschmidt and the first base bag.
And one out with a man on second. This is an important bat with Jaime Garcia on deck, the pitcher. Garcia is not an automatic out. He cares a lot about his hitting, but you really want to come through right here.
2 balls, 1 strike. Missed a spot there. Now it's 3-1. One thing we can say about Swanson is, even if he's making outs via contact, he has been pretty patient. So good to see him with a deep count here and a good hitter's count. See what he can do with a 1-out pitch, 3 balls and a strike. He took a shot at right field and skied it out of play.
And there's the difference. The 3-1 fastball, really nicely located right there down in the zone. And again, that gets back to, hey, even if you can't hit a slider, or you no, it's like can't, but you struggle with a slider, you are still going to get fastballs.
So Godley ready with a 3-2 pitch now. And a ground ball deep short. Marte double clutch, long throw. It gets away from Goldschmidt. It's in the camera well. And Atlanta's going to get a run. So a couple of defensive mistakes cost Arizona run number 2. A wild pitch put Adams at first base. The throwing error brings home Adams on the ball in the camera well, and it's 2-0 in the second.
Excellent piece of hitting. This is a 3-2 slider that Godwin did not get greedy. Threw the ball down the middle, going for the element of surprise on 3-2. And Swanson with a nice piece of hitting. You see the miss by Goldie.
Infield hit, throwing error, 2-0 Braves. And here's Garcia. He bounces the ball to the right side. That'll get Swanson to third for Ender Inciarte. The Diamondbacks have given the Braves a 4th out. Let's see if Ender can cash it in. Well, we know how great a season Ender has had, an all-star appearance for him. And he's really kicked it up a notch or 2 over the last 3 weeks. He's our Georgia lottery hitting the jackpot. Keep adding on. That's a little low. Might recall when the Braves made their deal with the Diamondbacks in December of 2015. It was A.J. Pollock who was the original target of Atlanta. The Diamondbacks wanted to keep Pollock and offered Ender Inciarte. And boy, the Braves happy with that decision. Shelby Miller and Gabe Spire went to Arizona for Ender, Dansby Swanson, and Aaron Blair. One of the best trades the Braves have ever made. Inciarte with his first all-star appearance under team control through 2021. Dansby Swanson in his rookie season this year. And a slow roller left side. Marte charges, throws on the run, close play, and out by a quarter step. And that retires the side. The Braves do get a 4th out. They do get a 2nd run and head to the 3rd inning now with a 2-0 lead.
Garcia back on the mound for the Braves, but that's not the only job he takes seriously for this team. He takes his job at the plate seriously as well. He spent some time with Matt Kemp working in the cage, says he probably takes it more seriously than most pitchers do, so Matt helped him out with his swing. Garcia says it's important to him because he wants to be able to help himself, help his team, whether it means driving in a run or moving that runner over like he just did in that last at bat. But most importantly, he says he knows that if Brian Snitker knows he can handle the bat well, he can go deeper into games because Brian Snitker will trust him in different situations at the plate instead of maybe bringing in a pinch hitter. And you saw Jaime there getting the job done again, once again for his team.
Good report, Kelsey. Thank you very much. As Jeff Mathis leads off, and that went off the glove of Flowers and back to the backstop.
That was a great report. I love that, Kelsey. That's stuff you can't get on a computer. And I love how Jaime Garcia cares about all aspects of the game. Great stuff.
Mathis, Godley, and A.J. Pollock are coming up. And a little pop hit toward first. Adams in foul ground is going to have enough room to make that play. One man down. Garcia set down 5 straight and has yet to allow a hit in the game. Here's Godley. Godley greeted with the greatest walk-up song in history. Former Tennessee Volunteer is greeted with the Georgia Bulldogs fight song. That'll get his blood boiling and perhaps distract him in this third inning at bat. He's 2 for 21 as a hitter and takes a strike.
Again, the bull in the china shop, his best friend on the team is Chafin. They love to deer hunt and fish, and when they were out in San Diego, they caught a thresher shark and came in and cooked it up for the team.
Really?
So he's got a little wild streak in him. Jeff Foxworthy would be proud. So you got to be careful of guys, and I'm told that Chafin handed him the reel and said, you got to reel this guy in, so he did. So again, middle linebacker, Tennessee, fish and hunt. Got to be careful with those guys. Got to pitch those guys carefully.
No balls, 2 strikes. Swing and a miss. The real question, though, is did Godley volunteer to land that shark, or was he forced to do so?
That's my partner, Chip Carey. It's Colorful Sunday, everybody. Got to stay on top.
I'm still mad at you when you made that elephant comment and looked right at me in the face. That's I got to go on a diet. 2 outs. Here's Pollock. Swinging bunt retired him in the top of the first inning. 6 up, 6 down for Garcia. Your Ford Keys, tall and fall and slip sliding away. All of those things seemingly working for Garcia as he now starts his second trip through the Arizona lineup. A lineup that has really hit a tough patch. Arizona's scoring just over 3 runs a game in the last 2 weeks, hitting a .173 with runners in scoring position. That is not at all what Torey Lovullo has seen from his club prior to the 10 days before the All-Star break. They'll have an off day tomorrow as the Diamondbacks will fly to Cincinnati, spend the off day there, and open up a 3-game series with the Reds. Then the East comes to the desert. Washington and Atlanta in back-to-back series, then the St. Louis Cardinals. So the end of July for Arizona, at least on paper, looks to be just as difficult as it appears for Atlanta. Slow roller foul at third, where Freddie Freeman is starting for the 2nd time in this series. Boy, did he look good over there on Friday night, Paul. First couple of times we've seen him challenged with hard hit pulled balls to third base.
Talking to Ron Washington, he said, Paul, it's not going to look as smooth as Camargo, but the bottom line is, can he get the job done? And the answer so far has been yes. He's handled the hot shot. He's handled the slow roller coming straight in across in front of the shortstop where you have to grab it and throw all in one motion. He's done a really nice job. And when you're 6'5", 6'6", you know, you're not going to look like a shortstop that's nice and smooth. But again, can you get the job done? And so far it's been a yes.
1 ball, 2 strikes. Good try, but Pollock didn't offer. 2-2 your count. That's headed for the upper deck.
Sometimes as a pitcher, when you're cruising and you're getting outs and you're throwing the ball well and you have 2 outs and there's nobody on, there's a tendency to relax. Garcia not doing that right now. Pitching Pollock very, very tough. Got some big guys coming up. And again, you've seen a lot of 2-out rallies get started. We already talked about him having trouble putting guys away with 2 strikes. So this is an important at bat.
To short, Dansby charges and had a little trouble getting it out of the glove, but plenty of time to get A.J. Pollock as Garcia threw 3 hitless innings and a 2-0 lead. That's carried over to his first inning at bat today, an RBI double that scored the first run of the day for the Braves to enjoy a 2-0 lead. Brandon Phillips is certainly enjoying his time playing in his home state. Paul Bird, that's our SunTrust confidence play.
You got it, Chip. And how about those last 14 games? Does everything with a little razzle dazzle, making it look good. Has a lot of fun out there, smiling, talking, keeping the game light, but don't confuse that with a lack of intensity. He works hard, he cares. Stone Mountain, Chip, the pride of Redan High.
You know what's funny about Brandon Phillips? All the years he played in the major leagues with Cleveland and then again with the Cincinnati Reds. First the pitch from Godley. Line drive, hard hit toward left. That's over the head of Descalso and up against the wall. Phillips on his way to second. He's in safely. He's got 2 doubles. That's 12 straight games for Atlanta where they have 2 or more doubles in a game. Second such streak since they've moved to Atlanta. Brandon Phillips got over 200 career home runs. Until this season, he'd never hit one in Atlanta.
Getting all of that one over the head. And I love this little slide where we don't have a chance to show it. Slide into second base where he slid up a foot short, foot up in the air, and then just touched it on the base. Again, always with a little flair. A short slide and put down.
Piece of cake. stuck the landing.
Got to do things a little different. Nothing wrong with that.
Well, here's Freddie. He struck out his first time up. Arizona's really trying to crowd him at the plate. Got him with a couple of front door breaking balls in this series. And the first two in this sequence have been down and in. Freeman swung and missed a pitch right across the top of his shoes in the opening inning. Two runs, 4 hits for the Braves. Arizona's committed an error for one of the unearned runs so far today. And that bounces into the Braves dugout right at the stairs. Jose Castro and Brian Snitker were standing there, and Brian decides to move over a step and hide behind the bench. Don't blame him.
I know Freddie was 0 for last night, but he's one of the hottest hitters in baseball. When I asked him who taught him how to hit, he said his dad, Fred Freeman, who after work would drive and meet him with 3 buckets of baseballs after his high school practice. Freddie would wait after, and he would have the whole field set up, and it would just be them. In the first bucket, he tried to hit the left field. And then the second bucket, he would try to hit the ball up the middle. And then the third bucket, he said, we would do anything. I would just try to hit it as hard as I can. He said, Paul, I never worked on pulling the baseball. I always worked on hitting the ball up the middle and opposite field. And I thought that was great that he would credit his dad, and way to go. It certainly has paid off.
That's really been Freddie's approach in the major leagues. I think he said as much in the papers the other day with his hot streak since coming off the disabled list. All he tries to do is hit a line drive over the shortstop's head every single time. What a great approach.
And Sean Green's dad, Ira Green, would help him with hitting, but he said that his dad, Fred, was the one that spent the most time with him and was always there, never missed a game. There it is. How about the Fox truck again coming through? That's Freddie Freeman with his 1,000 hits. And look at that spray chart. You can sometimes wonder why the shift on Freddie, but in general, he pulls the ball on the ground, and in the outfield, he can spread it across. So that's a defense called shift right and straight up in the outfield. So you'd say pull and opposite.
But what a beautiful spray chart that is from a hitter's perspective and a hitting coach's perspective. I would think from a pitching standpoint, that's a nightmare, because how do you go to get him out?
Well, that's it. I don't know what to do with this guy. And that's, you know, the first series they threw him so many breaking balls. Well, he hit a home run and then he got a base hit. So they pitched him a fastball in and he shot it over shortstop. So as a pitcher, when you see that, it causes problems because you don't know what to do. So
Freddie takes one the other way, but that's slicing toward the seats and into them. We'll do it again. Now, here's a perfect example. He just fouled 2 balls to the right side.
Right.
And then fought that pitch off and hit it 250 feet foul down the left field line.
So in the scouting report, they will say mix your pattern. And what that means is just because you got him out one way the first time, you don't want to go to the well too often. So you'll mix your pattern and pitch him a different way the next guy, because he will change his approach and can hit the ball to all fields. Those are always the toughest guys to face, because I want to know, how can I get this guy out? What do I got to do, especially in crunch time?
Freeman didn't go. He's going to walk on the appeal to third base. And again, Arizona trying to get Freeman to chase that pitch across the shoot tops. This time he held up somehow.
Very close, but I like the call. 2 on, nobody out.
And that's something else we haven't seen from Freddie since he's come off the DL from the fractured wrist. That's really the first big time check swing. So a test of how that wrist is feeling. Looks like no discomfort.
Well, and that's a great point. And he said that's how he knew he was ready. You know, after less than 10 at bats was when he took a slider on the outside part of the plate that missed. Freddie always having great pitch recognition and getting a good pitch to hit.
2 on, nobody out. Kemp scorches one deep toward left. Descalso's not going to get that. It's gone. A 3-run homer for Matt Kemp on the first pitch. That's been a long time in coming.
A little shout out, and Chip, I got to say it. Look out for the Atlanta Braves. We talked about The Diamondbacks being a very good team, this is a good test for them. The Diamondbacks leading in the wild card. I don't know what the rest of this game holds. This game is not over, but the Braves with a big 5-0 lead off a very good pitcher, Zach Godley, one of the tops in leagues in ERA. Kemp staying back. Man, is he strong.
Matt Kemp's first homer since June 21st. And as we mentioned before the break, taking the break might have been the best thing that happened for Kemp and Brandon Phillips. Matt now with a 3-game hitting streak. Phillips started this series 0 for 3. Is now 6 for his last 8 with 4 doubles against Arizona. Now the Braves hope to get this man going again. Nick Markakis, who's 1 for 9 in the set. 5-0 Atlanta the lead.
I talked to Kemp before the game and he said, Paul, I need to get going. I said, what's going on? He said, well, I don't like when all the other guys are hitting and I'm not. He said, I feel like I'm, in the middle of this order for a reason. I want to get going. Freddie's coming back and hitting. We're winning. We've got a lot of good things going on and I want to contribute. He's done that today and I'm sure Markakis would tell you the same thing.
Well, sometimes it takes the best to bring out a team's best. There's been much made of, and rightfully so, with the Atlanta schedule. Arizona's a good team. Got the Cubs coming in next. They've righted the ship as Markakis didn't get it. But look at what the Braves have done against winning teams this year, especially from an offensive standpoint. It has brought out the best from the Atlanta hitters.
And that's a good sign. To be there at the end, you have to beat the best teams. It's a good way to measure yourselves. That is an excellent graphic. And it's like pitching. If I'm pitching and I'm struggling and all the other guys are throwing well, that doesn't sit well with me. And there you see the home run ball. It's a happy fan. It may have been a closer. He had some pretty good hair. But, I don't want to be the guy that, it's not that you're holding people back, but you want everybody clicking. And it's like good pitching is contagious. You feed off one another. You have good competition. And it's the same thing at the plate. I loved early in the year when Kemp and NCRT were going back and forth, and NCRT was kidding him about him having a higher home run total. And so that's good competition. And he said, hey, you tell NCRT just stick to getting on base. He doesn't have my kind of pop. And when you have that banter going back and forth, it makes for good chemistry, good clubhouse. And it's just something that's fun to be a part of.
There's the first out of the inning as Markakis rolls out to shortstop. 3 runs in so far in the inning, 1 out. Here's Adams, who reached on a strikeout and a wild pitch and scored on a throwing error. Yeah, but Beth Marshall's here. Well, she's bringing us
gifts.
Yes,
we do.
Oh, we're told it's National Ice Cream Day. And look at what Beth brought Paul Bird.
Beth, you need to be back. See, this is a temptation. This really is coming from the freeze. He's trying to take me down.
Oh,
and I'm passing these to you.
Excellent point. Well,
because I'm in strict training right now. This body is a temple. Only the finest fruits and vegetables to get ready for this race.
Well, you called me an elephant early, so I don't know if I can bother to eat these, but
No, I said you eat an elephant one bite at a
Oh,
time is how you approach this game. You don't try to do too much.
Swing and another shot. Deep right center field. That ball's got a chance. That ball is into the bullpen. It's gone for Matt Adams. Bombs away in Atlanta GA here in the 3rd inning. 2 homers, 1 by Kemp, 1 by Adams. And Atlanta leads 6-0.
Well, I talked about the strength of Matt Kemp. Matt Adams is the same way. He also doesn't try to do too much. Nice, easy swing and a lot of power. How about the thunder? Gosh, that's nice and easy. The ball just jumping off his bat. It doesn't matter if it's Jace Peterson who hits one above the chop house or barely goes over. It is a home run. Outstanding. Mike Butcher with the visit to the mound. I know Torey Lovullo talks about his starters. We've said this, giving him 21. That means 21 outs, 7 strong innings. They want to preserve that bullpen. This is not the start they had envisioned for Godley.
You mentioned Jace Peterson. Lost in all the hullabaloo of it being his first career pinch hit homer. It was the 100th home run hit in SunTrust Park history. Kemp with number 101. Matt Adams with number 102. And the Braves have a 6-run lead. And all this has happened since Beth Marshall brought us all the ice cream. And the point I was going to make, Paul, is Chan Hartzog has set a personal record for most hot dogs consumed in one series. Perhaps you could go to work with the ice cream bars and see.
No, I don't know. These are rally brown cows, but I cannot participate, Chip, again. And you can keep them here all day. They'll just start running. I'm going to say no.
I'm embarrassed by your discipline. I really am. If you're going to be a professional broadcaster, you never turn down free food, especially if it's ice cream. That's a pro tip right there, buddy.
You know what? I can eat healthy. I can eat, good chicken breast and vegetables, but I can never say no to dessert. So this is tough. I'm not going to lie. I like sugar is what I'm trying to say.
Couldn't tell. 6-0. Just kidding. 6-0 here in the third inning. As Zach Godley, pitching before friends and family, has been hit early and often. He'd given up just 4 home runs in his first 69 innings plus. He's given up 2 today, and he just fooled Tyler Flowers for a swing and a miss. And that's his 3rd strikeout, and 2 are out in the inning.
Nice slider down right there. Flowers chase. Getting back to Peterson, I've never heard this before, but when you ask a hitter after a long home run, hey, was that all you got? They will always tell you no. I got more in the tank. There's more where that came from, and it's a little further. I asked Jace Peterson, I said, hey, do you have any more in the tank? Or he goes, Paul, I cannot hit a ball any further than last night. And I appreciated him telling the truth.
I mean, that was upper tank. 3rd level of the chop house. And not down the line like we said last night. Not a cheapie like hitting it in the H&F Burger joint. You hit it to straightaway right field up there.
Yeah, he hit a monster in Colorado last year, but I think this was further, and there wasn't that altitude that was helping him here. That ball was destroyed. And it was a big insurance run.
Line drive center. Pollock is there, and that retires the side. It's National Ice Cream Day, and so far the Braves are creaming Arizona. It's 6-0. A couple of home runs. One by Matt Kemp, one by Matt Adams. The Mets getting it done for Atlanta in the 3rd. We go to the 4th with a big lead at home on Sunday. Your #1 mobile app for live Braves baseball. Stay connected with a fully customizable experience. Get Atlanta Braves home screen icons And app features as well as game day, live game video highlights, radio broadcasts, StatCast, news and more. Download MLB.com at bat today. A heavenly result for the Atlanta offense against Zach Godley so far. 6 runs in the first 3 innings. As David Peralta goes to work. And this is exactly the kind of offensive support Jaime Garcia has needed. He has not gotten a ton of it in rotation for Atlanta as he tries to snap a personal 4-game losing streak and a stretch, Paul, of 4 consecutive starts where he's allowed 5 or more earned runs.
No, you're right on. Now, what do we like about Jaime Garcia? He's got great career numbers with that 3.66 ERA, 64 and 52. So he's done it before, and you know that's in 995 major league innings. So you know that's not an accident. That's a huge sample size. So it's just a matter of him getting the ship righted back on track, and hopefully, yeah, it looks like he's doing that today, and hopefully this will continue.
What he doesn't want to do now with this big lead, of course, is start walking people. Arizona's got some thunder in their lineup, and the park is lively again today. So throw strikes and take chances. There's a good result, fouled away.
And it's a great point because as a pitcher, not everybody can do that. It's like pitching to the other team's pitcher. You know you're not supposed to walk them. So when you have that big lead, you start to get a little nervous like, hey, I don't want to walk them. I don't want to walk them. We got a big lead. And what do? You start throwing balls because instead of pitching to throw strikes or pitching to win, you're pitching not to lose and you're pitching not to walk somebody. And there's a big difference in those 2 approaches.
Little roller. Garcia fields with a bare hand, falls down, throws it away down the right field line. And Peralta will reach second base on what should be an infield hit and a pitcher's throwing error. That time he put it in play and something bad happened.
Nice pitch, down and away. Tough pitch for the lefty because he's falling away, wasn't able to set his feet, really didn't have time to set his feet. But it's hard to throw the ball when you're falling down. So again, he didn't have time to do anything else. But again, falling off balance, it's tough play.
I couldn't tell because Tyler Flowers was running away from us and toward the baseball. I couldn't tell if he was calling off Garcia or if Jaime said he had it. Would have been an easier play with momentum carrying Flowers toward the baseball and first base. So let's see what Jaime does here with Goldschmidt up there. He walked him back in the first inning. Bell tie strike.
Excellent season numbers for Goldschmidt. As you can see, one of the best in the game. How about 70 RBI?
Yeah, this guy's a great player.
I think you missed it. I was supposed to say RBIs.
Yeah. Base hit the other way. He's going to have another RBI here as Peralta's going to come home and score an opposite field single for Goldschmidt, his 71st. There goes the shutout bid. That is the second Arizona hit. Back-to-back hits for them here in the 4th inning. It's now a 6-1 game.
Fastball supposed to be away. Catches a little bit too much of the plate. And Goldschmidt, who is a big-time power hitter who's shown you that he can pull the ball out for a home run with the best of them, also showing you that he can hit a ball the other way with authority too.
So 71 RBIs for Goldschmidt. Here's Owings.
No more RBIs for the Diamondbacks in the day, we hope. So a big inning for Garcia. Your team gets you 4 runs. Again, you don't want to come out and walk them. You want to make them hit the ball, which you've done. But you also want to get your team off the field quickly again. You don't want to give back any of that or change momentum. So these next few at bats are very, very important for the momentum of the game.
Line to third. Freddie at 6'5" reaches out, snags that sinking line drive. There's a scenario, Paul, where being a tall third baseman saved him. If Freddie doesn't have that big wingspan, that's a base hit in the left field.
Great point. Pulling the ball away, and you see Freddie. Excellent movements.
So Jake Lamb's the batter. He'll try to shepherd Goldschmidt home here in what's now a 6-1 game. And off his thumbs foul. Steve Reich one. Jake Lamb's out of Seattle, Washington, a 6th round pick back in 2012. Two years ago, had 7 RBIs in the first 2 games of the season. It's a team record, the first rookie to do that since Johnny Groth of the Tigers way back in 1941. Jake was an all Pac-12 player with the Huskies. And broke out last year with a 29 homer year.
Already with 20 this year, he has a good chance to pass that. No guarantees, but again, another solid year. And one of the reasons the Diamondbacks, and I know they've struggled as of late, but have been one of this year's biggest surprises. You have to have people step up, and some unlikely heroes, and he's one of them.
In case you didn't notice, it's the 3rd different uniform for Arizona in as many days. Friday night they had the slate gray turquoise look. Last night they had the maroon, black, and gold look. Today it's the gray and red. That's an equipment manager's nightmare. You got to pack for a road trip. They might have 6 different uniforms, 6 different days. What happens if one of the trunks gets lost, like used to happen occasionally with the umpires?
That would be tough. Hopefully you got them spread out a little bit. It may be easier on laundry if you have that many. But I like that they're paying attention to Goldschmidt right here. We've talked about this. He learned in the minor leagues. His coaches told him, and I'm talking Alan Zinter, Turner Ward, who he gave a shout out to, and they told him, if you can't base run well, you're not going to get to the big leagues. So he started working on stealing. And
Jake Lamb is caught looking. 4 strikeouts for Garcia.
Excellent pitch right there. Ball right on the outside corner, down and away. The little cut on it. Nasty pitch, lefty on lefty. But the point with Goldschmidt is he really paid attention to his base running, and so now he is a power threat and a base stealing threat. And the Braves know this, and that's why they're paying attention to him. And here again, another steal situation with 2 outs. And a man on first, trying to get him to scoring position.
Marte takes a strike.
Even saying Kurt Gibson, former manager, he learned a lot from. So you learn a little bit from everybody. Chew on the meat, spit out the bones. Be a good listener.
Kurt Gibson did a heck of a job in Arizona. He won the West when Kirk Gibson was at the helm. That bounces away from Flowers, and there's that base running. Goldschmidt saw that ball in the dirt, read it perfectly, and takes an extra 90 feet on a wild pitch. I agree with you. I think that's a facet of the game that's, I don't want to say disappeared, but it's seemingly been de-emphasized with all the power that's in the game now and all the home runs that are hit. The risk of getting thrown out on the bases is not as high as the chance of a man hitting a 2 or 3 run homer. And that, to me, takes away a lot of the beauty in drama of the game, that ultimate matchup, pitcher, batter, catcher, base runner. Instead, let's just sit back and wail away and hit homers. They're great when you get them. But watching a big guy like Goldschmidt run the bases, watching Larry Walker in his day with the Rockies and Expos run, it was great.
This is my opinion. Why can't we do both? You know, the game comes down to the little things, the attention to detail, and base running is something that you can work on. You know, I can't work on throwing the ball 98. I can't do it. It's not in there. So I have to work on my command, my movement, and being good at the things that I can control. And so, but everybody can be a good base runner. You don't have to be fast. You can get good reads. You can work on your first to third, getting good jumps, and just really paying attention to the game. And I think, again, coming down to the little things, and then if you hit the home run, great. But if you don't, I've still found a way to manufacture a run and change the game by working on things I can control.
Garcia's got Marte set up. 2 balls, 2 strikes. A run is in the 4th. 6-1 Atlanta. And he didn't offer there. It's a full count. Three balls, 2 strikes. And ball 4. There's another one of those 2-out walks. The 19th issued by Garcia this year. Now he's got to face Descalso, who, as we said, has been a real thorn for Atlanta in this series. Descalso had a pinch hit RBI single in the 6th inning last night. Descalso started game 1 Friday and went 3 for 4, so 4 hits in 6 at bats against the Braves. Did you feel like you had an advantage over a guy you played with when you faced him on opposing teams later?
Yes, unless he was my catcher, and I hated facing former catchers.
Really?
I felt like they always knew what I was trying to do. But other teammates, I did not. I felt like I had the advantage.
And why? What was the?
Well, because the catcher just had been involved. I was real close to my catchers, good relationships. I wanted them to know exactly what I was doing, whether I was calling the pitches or they were. We had our system. I wanted to work fast, wanted to be on the same page. So when I went and pitched somewhere else, it was just in my head that they knew the game plan I was going to pitch against them, and I you know, hated that. It's probably why I hit Eddie Perez twice. Eddie, if you're listening, I'm sorry. It wasn't intentional.
Was that the reason for the actions that shall remain nameless?
No, it's yeah, it's just something that I always felt like they knew me, and so it was in my head whether or not they were 0 for 3 or what have you. I felt like the next at bat, you know, they had an advantage. So.
And that makes sense. That's the kind of relationship I would think your pitcher would want, where the old Nuke LaLoosh line, don't think, just throw. You just follow the signs, follow the game plan, because he knows what you can do or what you have on that particular day.
Yeah, so we had, you know, a lot of times I would call the pitches, it doesn't matter now, but I would call the pitches with my mouth to keep the game going along. And then if the catcher had something or wanted to call a pitch, he would hit his helmet with his hand. And that meant that he's got something, he wants to call it, he's got it. So then I would not shake him off no matter what. And then there were some games where he would just say, you know, I want this one. And so they would call the whole game, and I wouldn't want to shake off. And then if I hit my head, that meant, hey, I want to call this sequence. And I felt like that kept the game moving fast. I want to take my time once I get the ball and I get the sign, but I want to be on that mound. I don't want to waste a lot of time shaking. I want my defense ready to go, and I want to work quickly. But once I get the sign, I want to take a breath and slow the game down and make my pitch.
25 pitches for Jaime Garcia in the Arizona 4th. Back-to-back singles, the first 2 hits of the game for them. Goldschmidt with an RBI, and now the delivery is cut on and missed. That's the inning. It's 6-1 heading to the home 4th.
the booth. So, of course, we got to come check out the Tomahawk ice cream bars here on National Ice Cream Day. So you got your Tomahawk. I can just do it. Here we go. You dip it in the chocolate. Oh, you guys can see I'm not that experienced in this. And then we're going for the sprinkles. How do we do this? We dip it straight in the sprinkles. Do I just go for it? Going for it. All right, guys, here you go. This is SunTrust Park here. You can get the Tomahawk ice cream bar. Here we go. National Ice Cream Day. Gotta do it. Ah! You got fine chocolate. You gotta do it.
That's a hot mess right there, isn't it? Looks pretty good, Kelsey.
It's great. I think I'm gonna help them serve some now, I think. Here we go. Let's set the mic down.
Practice makes perfect. Let's see if she can. There we go. Yeah, gotta wear the gloves. That's important. Wow, I get to do play-by-play of ice cream making. I've never done that before. No. There's a strike to Jaime Garcia. Are both gloves on, Kelsey? There we go. Nicely done. Got the left one on the left. There we go. A little trouble. Ground ball. Strike 2. Okay. Got to get it all covered. Don't want to miss a spot. What happens when you? Oh, see, 1/2.
We got a rookie.
Got to work on that. Swing and a miss by Garcia. He's going to be thrown out. And there's out number 1. There, now it's a better look. Oh, now spoon for the sprinkles. That's a pretty good idea. Looks pretty good. Now, again, you are the man with the discipline of steel. If Kelsey brought you one of those Tomahawk ice cream deals, would you eat that?
Gosh. That would be tougher than the brown cow.
Yeah.
But I still think I could say no.
So I think she's making one for you right now. Might need to get some more chocolate in it. That would make it easier.
So chocolate chip cookies, old-fashioned ice cream, the good stuff.
Yeah.
My weakness.
Joe's a chocolate chip cookie guy. That's his big thing. That one's bounced down a play foul. Me, as you can tell, just looking at anything is my favorite thing. I don't really have too many. In fact, our friends at Delaware North have been very generous. They brought us some tacos here on Friday night. Poor Val Burrell, our stage manager, has been craving the pimento cheese patty melt for about 6 weeks. As that one's inside the bag, fair and down the right field line for Ender. He's got another hit. Ball caroms off that short wall in right. He's at second base. And Ender Inciarte, another multi-hit game. He's 2 for 3. And the Braves are extra base hitting Mr. Godley into submission here in the 4th inning. That's 5 of them.
Well, and this is a really nice slider in. Again, down and in to the lefty is usually a nitro zone. They can get to that pitch. They struggle with the ball up and in. I want to say something. I don't want to make the Diamondbacks look bad. I got friends for working with them. They're having a great year. They've made good decisions. They've turned it around. But Ender said that he did not feel appreciated there by the fans. Nobody knew who he was. He didn't feel like what he did made a difference. He's come over to Atlanta. He loves the Braves. He says he goes to the malls and fans run over to him and they'll say, hey, I love to watch you play. I love the way you play the game. It's really nice to see him not just have a good season, but, you know.
Did you see that? Ball in the dirt, a wild pitch. It looked like that ball got stuck in the equipment of Mathis. I think it got stuck in the chest protector. So a wild pitch. Yep, it lodged inside the chest protector. And then popped out as he tried to chase the ball. So when that happens, the ball is immediately dead. So there was no chance for further advance by Ender. He wasn't going to come home anyway. So he's at third base now with 1 out. Infield comes in for Phillips. There's another weird play like that earlier this year. You might remember Yadier Molina of the Cardinals had a ball hit off the chest protector and stuck to the exterior of the chest protector, which made everybody wonder how much clear pine tar did he have or what other substance he might have had on the gear. Line Line drive into right center by Phillips. That's going to make it 7-1. Peralta cuts it off on the track, but Brandon Phillips stands in with his third double of the game. You know, Brandon said something about 3 weeks ago that at the time maybe raised a few eyebrows. He said that he thinks this team can get to 500 and then zoom right past the 500 mark. Well, an acupuncture treatment in Washington later, the bat of Brandon Phillips has come to life, and so has he. He's 7 for his last 9 with 5 doubles in this series. And Atlanta is pounding away. A swing and a miss by Freeman.
Phillips has been a great addition to this team in the clubhouse, on the field. Really enjoyable to watch. Certainly done the job with the bat, and as always defensively, great to see. And I agree with him. We were talking about this team, and we've all been talking about, hey, could this be the 91 team that took off after the break? And I certainly feel that this team has the people to do that. They have the bullets. It's just a matter of getting everybody clicking and pitching clicking a little bit better, and they'll be okay.
Well, it just seems, Paul, this team's playing with a great deal more confidence now, as opposed to first half of last year, as Freeman is down on strikes for the second time in the game. Some of that comes with success, I would think, but who the Braves are having their success against, I think, is indicative. The way that they've played the Washington Nationals by and large this year, after Washington's beaten up the Braves the last 2 years, I think maybe subconsciously told this team, look, we can play with anybody. Now the question is, can they beat them consistently? And they're playing good teams now, and for them to zoom past 500 like Phillips wants to, they're going to have to beat the best to do it. 6 strikeouts for Godley. As Matt Kemp is coming up, he's homered today, a 3-run shot in inning number 3.
And Chip, being on last place team, first place teams, being in playoff 5 times, there's nothing better than in September when every game counts and you are in a playoff race. You can't wait to get to the field. You got a good thing going. Guys are moving guys over. Everything is situational. Win the game. You're going to win again tomorrow. There's nothing better than that feeling. It is so fun. And that is what you long for in pro ball. You know, sometimes people are, you know, it's more individual. You know, people, you know, you do want to take care of your family and you do want to have a good year. But the point I'm making is you always want to win, and you don't get that out of your system all of a sudden because you get to the big leagues. You play the game, you want to win, you want to win as a team, and the game just takes on new life and becomes fun.
Fouled away by Kemp, who fought off that pitch. Braves have scored in every inning in the game. Brandon Phillips has done something today he'd never done before. That's pick up 3 doubles in 1 major league game. He's had 2 doubles 30 separate times in a single game before today. No balls, 2 strikes. Line drive center. Pollock is there and reaches up, and that retires the side. It's National Ice Cream Day. Kelsey Winkert trying to stay cool on a hot day in Atlanta, where the Braves lead 7-1. Braves are up 6 as we head to the 5th inning. It's a live look in on our Xfinity cam. Gary Lehman, our director today. Boy, what a panoramic, beautiful palette he has to play with our cameras at SunTrust Park. Loud, energetic crowd. Jaime Garcia pitching well. Braves trying to sweep away the Diamondbacks and get back to 500 in this, the 90th game of the season. I believe last time Atlanta was at 500 this late in the year, you have to go back to 2014. As Jeff Mathis digs in first. 8-9-1 for the Diamondbacks. Mathis popped out his lone time up. That was in the 3rd inning. Missed a corner. It's 2-2. Mentioned earlier, the Braves gained ground on Colorado and Arizona in the wild card race with their first 2 victories in this series. Braves are hoping for a Mets comeback today at home. They're playing the Rockies again and are down 9-3. Steven Matz started that game for New York and got clobbered early on, so he's out of the game. Dodgers winning again 3-1 over Miami. Got an incredible number for you on the Dodgers in a minute. Washington 9-2 over the Reds. They made big news today as well. The pitch is fouled back to the screen. Last 70 games for the LA Dodgers, who are coming up on the next road trip for Atlanta. LA has won 53. They've lost 17 games, and they have outscored their opponents by a whopping 160 runs over 70 games. Alex Wood was a winner yesterday. He's 11-0, and that's another walk for Garcia, who got way ahead of Mathis 0-2 and lost him.
Really, really important. We talked about tall and fall being important for Garcia, and you're going to see where he needs on that backside. Wants to really, really stay tall. He's got a little bend in his leg, and it's important when he has that bend to push off that he keeps his upper body upright and tall so that he gets the angle on his arm going at a downward angle to create that low movement in the zone.
So Godley will stay in. Arizona needs innings out of him, and he pushes a bunt foul for a strike 1 call. Our pal Mike Smith, our great press box security guard, loves the walk-up music for Zach Godley this time. As another one's bunted foul. Mike does such a great job keeping us safe upstairs. Big Tennessee Volunteer fan, and a big day for Mike and his beautiful wife Jackie today. They're celebrating their 42nd wedding anniversary. So Mike and Jackie, congratulations, blessings, and hopefully 42 more together. That's
congrats. That's a big deal.
Big deal and a great story. He's a terrific man. No balls, 2 strikes. And Godley can't get the bunt down. He's down with strikeout number 6.
But Chip, this is what I'm talking about. When you have to push off, if you stay tall and fall, it's hard to get anything on it. So that back leg is going to bend a little bit. We're going to watch this back leg right here. That's the front lead leg. It's going to bend about right there, and now he's got to stay tall with that good upright body through the motion, and that gives you that good downward angle and tilt. They're pitchers that throw good curveballs. They have that rising fastball, and they can pitch up in the zone. Jaime is at his best when he stays down. When the ball gets up, everything flattens out. He doesn't get that late movement.
Here's Pollock. He tries to bunt, pops it up to the mound.
Thank you very much.
Well, you can understand the logic. I mean, they need base runners and they need somebody to pop one. But that's not the kind of pop Arizona was looking for. It's a pop up for the second out of the inning. And here's Peralta.
Jaime Garcia doing a good job today. Now, Chip, he usually struggles as the game goes on, first, second, and third time through the order. As you can see right there, third time hitters hitting 340 off. That's a huge difference between 195, but not today. He is has his good stuff. I don't look for that to continue. But again, this third time through order, this is a big couple innings for him. You got the 6-run cushion. I want to see if that makes him relax a little bit and just, hey, nice and easy. Throw strikes, attack the strike zone, and get us off the field. We'll see if it translates.
Two balls, no strikes. So far for Arizona, it's more of the same. A good hitting club that's in a dry spell runs into Jaime Garcia, a left-handed pitcher, and for Arizona's bats, that has been kryptonite for a long time. 29th in average, I believe 29th in on-base percentage against left-handed pitching in Major League annals. And a fly ball hit toward left, should be caught by Kemp, and Garcia is on to the bottom of the 5th inning. 7-1 Atlanta in game 3.
Brought to you by Sherwin-Williams.
All Atlanta on a beautiful Sunday. The Braves indeed hammering Arizona with a couple of long home runs. And it's get your very own Hank Aaron replica statue day at the ballpark, brought to you by Delta Airlines. It's Friday, August 18th. The first 20,000 fans get to take home their very own replica statue of baseball's home run king. Go to Braves.com/tickets and get your tickets today. If you have not been to SunTrust Park, or even if you have, if you've not visited Monument Garden behind home plate, you are missing out on a fabulous baseball museum that's far different from the one that we had at Turner Field. And that was great, run by Carol and Sarah. One of the great things about SunTrust Park is this really is a living, breathing museum. There are artifacts and features of the great history of the Braves scattered all around this beautiful new baseball home. The centerpiece, of course, that beautiful bronze statue of Henry Aaron back behind home plate. So make your visits here. Hope you'll stop by and see that.
It's great stuff. I love some of the quotes from some of the guys. I love where Eddie Matthews said, if you're in a slump, they call it a hitch. But if you're hitting well, they call it rhythm. You know, the same stance, and just neat how people thought. Hank Aaron talking about making the most of what you do with each at bat.
Markakis swings and misses. They have fed him a steady diet of off-speed stuff in the dirt in this series, and he swung over the top of it a lot. Markakis strikes out for the first time today. That's 7 for Godley. And Matt Adams is coming up. He too has struck out, but he scored, and he's hit a solo home run. You go up and down the numbers that Henry Aaron put up as a major league player. Of course, number retired in 1975. He entered the Hall of Fame in 1982. You all know about his 755 home runs, 3,771 hits. And in an era today, Paul, where there's a shortage, shall we say, of power, or at least a perceived shortage of power, there's an even greater shortage of consistent contact. Do you know that Henry Aaron in his career never struck out 100 times in a season?
I did not know that.
He came close a couple of times. He had 3 years where he struck out 90 times or more. 3 as a major league player, and still hit 755 home runs. Incredible. That's bounced into the Braves dugout. That one went over the protective facade of the dugout and ricocheted around. Hope that didn't get the birthday boy Terry Pendleton down there. Happy birthday, TP. He's probably thinking, I wish I was 29 again and I could have moved a step quicker. As Adams is down on strikes, that's out number 2. Tell you what, Terry Pendleton is one of the best people and was one of the best players the Braves ever had. And we are all lucky to have Terry around, offering his wisdom not just to us but to the youngsters on this Braves infield. And Terry, an excellent job as the Braves bench coach under Brian Snitker. So Terry, many happy returns.
You had mentioned Hank Aaron. I think as much as he did off the field, he was an incredible person. You know, on the field that you mentioned, he's an incredible person off the field. You talk to guys like Dusty Baker, who said Hank took him under his wing and really showed him what to eat, showed him how to handle the ropes, how to handle the media, what to say, what not to say, how to be a good teammate. And Terry Pendleton is another one of those that you just want in the dugout, you want in the clubhouse. He's going up and helping rookies. It's not just about fielding or hitting. It's about how to act as a professional up here, how to be a good teammate, how to know your place as a rookie, how to know your place as a veteran, what to do, what to say.
He epitomizes what a big league player was and should be. Much like Henry Aaron, who holds more major league batting records than any other player in baseball history. Henry Aaron has 2,297 RBIs. Not hits, RBIs. As Tyler Flowers swings and misses, and Godley just struck out the side. He's pitched very impressively. 9 strikeouts for him, but he's on the short end of a 6-run game.
into our Fox Sports set here in the Battery Atlanta. I'm Rebecca Capel with this Xfinity game break. The Nationals are in Cincinnati this afternoon. Let's get you to the top of the first. A runner on, Daniel Murphy takes Homer Bailey deep to right for his 15th home run of the season. And this guy, well, he wasn't quite finished yet. Let's skip to the 5th inning now. It's Murphy again, 2 on, and look at this. Hits his 2nd homer of the game. The Nationals lead the Reds 9-3 in the top of the 6th. Chip and Paul?
Okay, Rebecca, thank you very much. Today's the day where Mr. Bailey wishes his parents had named him Shutout instead of Homer, pitching in the Great American Small Park. And you know, the Nationals are playing inspired baseball today. They finally made a move to fix their bullpen, or what they hope will fix their bullpen. More on that in a second, as Paul Goldschmidt leads off the 6th inning. The Nationals acquired Sean Doolittle and Ryan Madsen from the Oakland A's for Blake Trinan and a couple of other minor league players. We all know that that has been the Achilles heel for Washington. They finally made a move to get not 1 but 2 bullpen arms. A shot up the middle, just out of reach of Brandon Phillips, and Goldschmidt's aboard with his 2nd hit of the game.
You talked about using all fields, and Freddie Freeman, Goldschmidt doing the same thing, going the other way last time. This time he drives the ball straight up the middle. We've seen him pull a ball for a home run 15 rows deep. Very, very good hitter.
Owings is 0 for 2. He's fly to center. He's lined to third. .50 RBIs for Owings, a new career high. He will fly by that here in 2017. And that one cut on and missed. Strike 1.
Well, guys, this is a goofball off the field. Now, he's very intense on the field, but reliever Archie Bradley in May asked Torrey if they could dress up, have a little fun. They don't want to be the Cubs, so everybody dressed up as Patriots going to D.C. And Torrey said, hey, you got to go check with some of the veterans, make sure that's okay. And he said, I don't mind, but again, we want to have a good clubhouse. And so there's Chris Owings going to L.A. dressed up as a beach bum. So having a little fun over there in Arizona. They're not having any fun right now, but Torrey has created an atmosphere where guys are relaxed and enjoying being a part of the team. Good chemistry, good team players, and so far this year having a good year.
Now that was Chris Owings in that picture you saw, right?
Yes.
That was Chris Owings. Well, obviously from that outfit he has a future as a TV producer, Paul. He's got a great chance when he's done playing baseball to fit right in with the guys and gals, especially in our Fox Sports TV truck.
There you go. As you see Torrey, he has done a very nice job as a manager. Goes over and teaches during the game. Similar to Girardi, he will wait for the right moment. He said, Paul, it's very important that I know my players. There's some guys I can walk up to right when something happens and I can teach, and then there's other guys I got to let them calm down a little bit. He's very good at dealing with people. And yeah, my former teammate. Phillies and Indians.
Well, I really hope Torey Lovullo has a long and successful career in Arizona. They've had a fantastic franchise out there. They have a great passionate fan base, but they just haven't had a whole lot of managerial stability out there. And after the disappointment of the last couple of years in the Western Division standings, and of course all the press of the Dansby Swanson deal, yada yada yada, for them to get out of the gates the way that they've gotten out and in contention for a playoff spot is good for baseball. It's good for their fans. Remember, they have a world championship. One of their heroes of that season is sitting to our left, Luis Gonzalez, working the games on Diamondbacks television today, as Owings fouls one away again, still 0-2.
Gonzo.
He could hit.
Yes, he could.
And still one of the really good guys in the game.
Yes, he is.
Get a chance to catch up with Bob Brenly in Phoenix when the Braves head out to the desert for a 3-game series on the 24th. In fact, we go to LA, Arizona, and Philly on the next road trip. Owings is down on strikes. Long battle, but Garcia won that, and that's 7 strikeouts for Jaime.
There's Gonzo. Still looking good. As long as we recognize each other, Chip, we're happy. But he came over. I get a warm feeling every time I see Louis. I only made the All-Star team one time. It was in Boston. It was a great All-Star game. So I brought my kid. And, Colby is too young to enjoy it, but Grayson, you know, is 3 years old. He's running around. We're taking wiffle ball in front of the monster. I'm getting all these picks with players. And I was like a fan that won some contest. You know, I couldn't believe that I was on the team selected. Bruce Bochy, great time. So get back, Chip. I'm all fired up. Take the camera, drop it off, and I didn't load the film correctly.
Oh.
So I had no pictures.
Well.
2 weeks later, playing Gonzalez, he comes over, he hands me a big manila envelope. I open it up, and it's a picture of my son Grayson sitting on my lap during the home run contest. McGuire, Sosa, Griffey. It's the only picture that I have. It means the world to me.
That is the kind of guy Luis is.
So every time I see him, I get a warm feeling, and served up a couple home runs to him, and I didn't mind as much because he handed me that picture. That's what I tell him anyways.
Yeah, you're not the only one. Gonzalez, first Diamondback to have his number retired. And he'll forever be known for his game-winning hit off Mariano Rivera in Game 7 of the 2001 World Series at Chase Field in Phoenix as they beat the Yankees.
Rivera's cutter was so nasty. He just threw it over and over and over again. Everybody knew that it was coming, couldn't adjust. Easy like Sunday morning, 94 miles an hour in on the hands. And Gonzo just fought it off for a base hit up the middle.
Two balls, 2 strikes for Jake Lamb, who has been struck out twice. Jaime ready, and the pitch is rolled slowly toward Phillips. He'll shovel to second. Freeman was the man in the shift that handled the turn at second base. First time we've seen Freddie Freeman do that. So a 4-5 force play erases Goldschmidt. That would have been the world's biggest collision if those two had met at the bag.
I'm really wondering how many times Freddie Freeman has practiced this in his life. Coming across second base, but my goodness, that looked pretty good, Chip. Strong arm, and how about the transfer? He catches it first. Not quite Omar Vizquelish, but it was enough to get the job done and looked good. So that was, in my mind, that was a good turn. He's impressing me.
So the lead runners erased, 2 outs. And a shot toward short. Dansby gloves. He'll flip to Phillips. And Garcia is through 6 innings with a 6-run lead. Bottom part of the lineup card coming up for Atlanta.
Presented by your local Hyundai dealers.
Beautiful car on a beautiful day. 7-1. That's the most beautiful thing of all. The Braves in position to sweep away the Arizona Diamondbacks. And here at the bottom of the 3 o'clock hour Eastern time, it's time for the bottom of the 6th inning, and Dansby Swanson is going to lead things off. Made the point about Zach Godley pitching well. I meant to add the qualifier. He's been pitching well the last couple of innings. He has struck out 4 of the last 5 Braves hitters he's faced. He's up to 8 strikeouts so far on the day. And in a game that looks to be out of hand for the moment, he's buying them some valuable innings, and the reason that's important is where they go next. We just saw the trouble Homer Bailey's having for the Reds in Cincinnati. That's a notorious hitter's park. Godley trying to buy some rest for the Arizona bullpen, which is now beginning to work. And there's the slider. Dansby didn't offer at it. 2 balls and a strike.
Well, again, you make the point. They're beating a good team. I don't know what's going to happen the rest of this game, but so far they're beating a very good team that has one of their best pitchers on the mound. And Freddie Freeman isn't 5 for 5. Everybody's chipping in and getting the job done, and Garcia set the tone early.
And by the way, thanks to our friends at Delaware North, Val is doing okay back there with her pimento cheese patty melt.
The temptations just don't stop up here in the press box.
You're going to get kicked out of the broadcast if you don't eat something. Pitch is off the plate. No, but that's the other thing about SunTrust Park. If you come here, the food options are tremendous. And yes, the Delaware North folks do a great job. A lot of choices, something for every taste, every budget. And we appreciate their generosity, and we are happy to highlight the good work they do. And they've been busy this weekend. 3 great crowds. And so far, so good. Everybody's headed home happy, especially those folks celebrating National Ice Cream Day. There's strikeout number 9 for Godley. And that brings up Jaime Garcia. At 9th strikeout, a new career high for the Arizona pitcher who came over from the Cubs. You might recall Miguel Montero, who was the focus of so much scrutiny this year after a game that saw the opponents run wild against Jake Arrieta. It was 7 stolen bases. He called out his pitcher and was promptly designated for assignment, and eventually made his way to the Toronto Blue Jays organization. So that deal worked out well for Arizona, as Godley up and down 3 separate times between the big league club and their AAA team in Reno. Might have a chance to stick in rotation the rest of the year to see what he's got.
He's a great pitcher. He's got great stuff down in the zone, ball moving all over the place, good curveball. As a pitcher, every game can't be great, but I admire the fact that Torey Lovullo has left him in the game as long as he has, because in the 3rd, when he gave up a 4 spot after giving up 1 in the 1st and the 2nd, he has stayed in the game and pitched well, and that helps save the bullpen long haul, which is so important.
Peralta tracks that down off Garcia's bat. That's the 2nd out of the inning. Well, no matter what Godley does, this will be his last frame. His spot's due 3rd when Arizona hits next inning. And that brings up Ender Inciarte. 2 hits, 2 runs. Seven straight Braves have been set down by Godley. Ender Inciarte, 7 hits in the series, looking for his 10th 3-hit game with this 6th inning at bat. And rolled foul, strike 1.
There's that curveball with good downward action. He's got some good swings on that today to lefties when he starts it out down in the zone, and it appears to be a fastball, but it has the 12-6 spin. The 12-6 breaking balls that tumble straight down with those kind of seams are much look like the fastball, and there's the change away. But if you throw fastballs down and then you follow that with a curveball that has the exact same rotation, sometimes that's hard to pick up, especially when it's a hard curveball as his is.
Braves will face the Cubs here tomorrow night. First of 3 with Chicago, the defending world champions. Rebecca and Brian will preview that big series after the 7th inning wraps up. Fly ball hit toward left. And that should be easy for Descalso, and it is. Zach Godley did a heck of a job the last couple of innings, but the damage done in the middle frames. It's 7-1 Atlanta.
And the Georgia Lottery.
It is a 7-1 score as we get set for inning number 7 here in Atlanta. Time to paint the corners, brought to you by Sherwin-Williams. Paul, let's check out the different days by today's starters.
There you have it. Zach Godley with the 6 innings. Career high in 9 strikeouts. Jaime Garcia, a few more walks, but he's scattered them. And only 3 hits in 6 innings. Excellent work today. 1 run.
And he's trying to snap a frustrating run of play. Garcia has not won a game since May 26th when he beat the Giants. Here's Descalso, and Garcia delivers a strike. Got Jaime with 7 strikeouts. He scattered 3 hits. And a shot to right. Jammed him a bit. And Markakis turned the wrong way, but recovered at the edge of the track. That worked out. 1 away.
Well, we talked about the ball that's right at you for the outfielder. That wasn't quite a line drive, pretty close. And Markakis, a nice adjustment right there. He's looking at the ball over the left shoulder, have to turn immediately and pick that ball up again, which he did a nice job of.
Here's Jeff Mathis, and he takes a strike. Dansby at short, can't get it. It's under his glove and into left field. So Mathis found a hole. Brandon Drury's going to come on and pinch hit. Godley went 6 innings. He allowed 7 runs, 6 of them earned. 9 strikeouts, a career high. He walked 1 batter, threw a wild pitch, and gave up a couple of homers.
Good athlete at the plate right now. Doubles type. Hits good pitching. Very good hitter coming off the bench, hitting .284.
Right there, a strike.
As you see, outstanding numbers, 8 home runs, 40 RBIs. I don't like a guy coming off the bench that has that kind of thump.
Godley threw 100 pitches in his 6 innings. And in one respect, taking nothing away from anything that's happened so far this weekend, the Braves caught a big break. They didn't have to deal with Zach Greinke, nor did they have to deal with Robbie Ray. Chance we might see them when we hit the road on our next trip, which is an 11-game, 3-city, 12-day trip, if I'm reading that right. 11-day trip, beg your pardon. 4 in LA, 3 in Arizona, an off day, and then 4 games against the Phillies before the Braves come back home August 1st to play the Dodgers. And folks, if you haven't gotten your tickets, you want to come see that LA team. That is a machine that Dave Roberts has assembled out west. Dodgers 63 wins, have opened up a 9.5 game lead in the West, and riding an 8-game winning streak and winning again today in Miami, 3-1.
The best team that I've seen so far this year is Houston. It'll be interesting to see the Dodgers come through. The Braves were not as hot as they are now when they were playing Houston. But it was a very, very good lineup with a lot of guys that could hurt you and good pitching.
Well, I mean, Paul, they're putting up 27 Yankees kind of numbers.
Right.
Last 32 games, they're 28-4. Think about that. Last 70 games, they're 53-17. So another test for the Braves with 2 series coming up. Sharply hit, flip to second. Dansby dances and fires to first in time. That was a beautiful, elegant double play turn on a sharply hit ball. That takes care of Arizona in the 7th inning. It is a big, big day for the Atlanta Braves. It's also a big day today at SunTrust Park. We've got a great post-game concert. Need to Breathe is going to be performing once hostilities finish between the Braves and Diamondbacks today. And it won't be Timothy Miller today. It's going to be Summerbrook and the Mountain Faith Band, one of 2 performing groups working at SunTrust Park here this afternoon. 7-1's your score. Time for God Bless America.
God bless America, land that I love. Stand beside her and guide her through the night with the light from above, from the mountains to the prairies, to the oceans, wide with foam.
Braves are up 7-1, so it's a beautiful day here at SunTrust Park. The beautiful scoreboard as well, but how about that minor league organization? They're looking pretty good as well. Let's check that out with our T-Mobile Unlimited Baseball break. Down in Gwinnett last night, Ozzie Albies, a name we are all familiar with, 1 for 5 with an RBI and a run. Ronald Acuna, you guys, he keeps swinging it after being promoted to AAA, 2 for 5 with 2 doubles. He's hitting .357 up there. And check out Danny Santana on his rehab assignment last night, 5 for 5 with 3 RBI and 2 runs. Him and Sean Rodriguez are expected to join Atlanta's roster early this upcoming week in the next few days, so excited to see them back up here. But there's a lot to be excited about in Atlanta and in that minor leagues.
Excellent point, Kelsey, and the potential roster move certainly is going to be interesting to see, because right now the Braves bench is doing an excellent job. The job that Jace Peterson did last night, his first career pinch hit home run. Lane Adams, his great speed, his big double, cleared the bases. As you see, TJ McFarland, who's been an integral part of the Arizona pitching staff this year. It's funny how quickly, in hindsight, things have turned around for the Braves. A couple of years ago, there weren't enough quality major league players on the roster. Now they're seemingly brimming with quality major league players and not enough spots, as Phillips is hit with a pitch that bounced in front of the plate.
Little pants leg action right there, which counts.
Yep, Arizona checking to see if it hit him, and yes, it did. And if you don't know the rule, if the ball bounces before it's touched by the catcher and it hits the batter, that's a hit by pitch. So they figured, well, if we hit him, we know he has to stop at first base after a 3-double day for Brandon Phillips. Freeman shoots one a long way the other way, but not deep enough. Phillips thought about tagging, but he'll head back to first. I was about to say with Freeman, he was really inside conscious, it seemed, Paul, at the plate in this series. That awkward swing and a miss his first time up gave the Diamondbacks, it looked like, a place to go against him today. I like that at bat, not the result, but he tried to hit a ball the other way.
And it's hard to hit. I mean, the best in the game walking back dugout 7 out of 10 times. And so, you know, Freddie Freeman, again, still hot. He still looks really good coming off the DL in such a short amount of rehab time. Big boost. And with what the Braves have going on right now, he could not wait to get back. And yes, overall, he looks very good. You talked about bench players and the Braves strength of the bench, and Lane Adams with that big hit last night, and he can flat out go, get down the line, take a base. And you know, I thought for sure he played football in high school, so I asked him about it, and he said, Paul, I grew up in Red Oak, Oklahoma. And he said, we only have 600 people in our town. I graduated with 14 people, so we didn't have enough at our school for a football team.
Right.
So he said we had no movie theater, and he said we all hung out, and he wasn't complaining about a town. He said they're very close. His head baseball coach was Trey Booth, and he said everybody had to play. So we just played basketball, we played baseball, and I wouldn't trade it for the world. And what I found out is if you get a big hit and you're from Red Oak, Oklahoma, your phone is going to blow up. He said he finally had to put it down. He was getting so many texts last night. So good for him.
One ball and 2 strikes. Matt Kemp with a 3-run homer to highlight his day today. His first homer since late June.
When you see that front shoulder, that is pine tar from the follow through on the bat. And he is loaded up.
And here's Matt's 3rd inning blast that made it a 5-0 game.
Doesn't try to do too much. Front foot just comes up and down nice and easy. That is a strong human being, gives a little props. If he gets going again, look out.
2 balls, 2 strikes. Well, no rest for the weary for the Braves. Mentioned the Cubs are coming to town. Jose Quintana debuting for them today. Braves will miss him in this series. But Chicago has been blasting the baseball in Baltimore. Again, Rebecca and Brian will have more on that coming up in just a few minutes.
Bring him on, Chip.
Well, it's been an interesting year for Chicago. I mean, they won the World Championship last year. And I think Wade Davis was their only All-Star. That doesn't happen too often on a team with Rizzo and Hayward and Chris Bryant. But as we've said a couple of times, they're playing in the right division. The National League Central. We got to try to catch the Brewers and hold off the Cardinals and Pirates. A little roller right side that'll advance the runners. Kemp is out at first, and there's out number 2. That's a really encouraging sign for me as well, and a sign that the All-Star break came at the right time for Kemp. See how well he got down the line there. Look, he's not a speed burner, but he got down the line in good shape, didn't pull up, gave it everything he had, and was out number 2.
He did that last night on a ball back up the middle to the pitcher where he got out of the box, where he is moving a lot better. And something, you know, when you play 162 games and you're game in, game out, and you're an everyday player, and you pull a hammy lightly, or you know, hurt your groin, and it's not something where you can go to the DL every time some little thing goes wrong with you. So sometimes, you know, and I'm a big advocate of hustle because it's contagious, it sets the tone, it's very, very important. But there's some times where you have to go easy just for self-preservation and the betterment of the team. So Kemp's been dealing with a few injuries, and it's nice to see him healthy, getting down the line again.
Well, how many times do we hear Bobby Cox at Turner Field when the pitcher was up, for example? Little tapper, slow roller like the one Kemp just hit, and you'd hear Bobby screaming, easy.
Yes.
Concede the out. Bigger picture in play. As that one shot down the left field line.
I don't think Glavine or Maddox were ever allowed to run hard.
Hey, great catch, by the way. That young fan caught that on a hop. He's from Alpharetta, Georgia, where the czar of Alpharetta, Jim Hazelwood, is watching the game today.
Great players in Alpharetta. Mom with the backup.
That was nicely done. Way to go, kid. 1 ball, 1 strike. And that missed inside, 2-1. Seven runs on 8 hits. Boy, talk about an efficient offensive day today for Atlanta. That's exactly what they've seen. Phillips with a 3-double day. First time he's done that in his long career. Ender Inciarte, 2 hits, 2 runs. Kemp a 3-run homer. Matt Adams has hit a homer and has scored twice. And best of all, Jaime Garcia has been crisp today. He's allowed 1 run on 4 hits through 7 innings. And that's not to be overlooked. The Braves bullpen's had to work a lot in this series. And yes, it's right after the break, but with the number of quality teams coming up and the long road trip, all these innings that are being saved now might come in handy over the next couple of weeks.
That is a great point. Nice to see Garcia doing the job. That's so important that the bullpen has adequate rest. You can get away in April and May with your bullpen being taxed, but it really shows up at the end of the year if they've had to labor.
Broken bat. Goldschmidt's got it. He'll take it to the bag, and that retires the side. Atlanta 7, Arizona 1. Time for Rebecca and Brian to tell us all about today's big story.
All right, thank you very much, Chip. Our big story today, preparing for the defending world champs to come to town for a 3-game series starting tomorrow. And boy, remember that celebration? That was a long time coming, BJ.
Long time coming, but you know what? They got a hangover in this first half of the season. But all of a sudden, they make a big trade. Quintana, one of the sawed-off pitchers in the league. He comes to Chicago, and he gets his first start today against the Orioles. 7 innings pitched, 12 strikeouts.
Wow.
If that doesn't pump this Cubs team up, who's playing some excellent baseball against Baltimore, they could sweep Baltimore Orioles with the win today.
Wow.
So it's going to be fun watching the Cubs coming in to this park on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday.
Yeah, and here's how they fared so far this season. And they're in second right now in their division, almost an identical record as the Braves. Their offense is batting .242. They've got the second most walks in the NL. The Cubs are 5th best in the NL in pitching. Welcome back into our set here in the Battery Atlanta. We're hanging with you guys talking about the Cubs because we got a big couple of days coming up.
You know what? The offense has been suspect for the Cubs.
Yeah.
The pitching has been suspect in the first half of the season, but all of a sudden the front office starting to make some moves. Jason Hayward is healthy. Schwarber, you know he's not going to be that bad for the whole season. He still has 14 home runs, and all of a sudden your leaders, Rizzo, Bryant, they're starting to come alive, and this team is starting to look like last year's Cubs team.
Chip and Paul, it's going to be fun this week.
Still seems weird to say the defending world champion Chicago Cubs. It only took them 108 years between championships, but they got it done. And I think Rebecca and BJ are right, Paul. They are starting to hit their stride. The Cubs start play today, 5.5 games out of first place. That's not the big story in the Central. The Milwaukee Brewers are the big story. But certainly it's a power-packed Chicago team with Bryant and Rizzo on the infield. Jason Hayward will be coming back, and the Braves are going to run into Lester, Lackey, and Mike Montgomery in the 3-game series.
Yeah, so I've said this before, and I like Joe Madden, but, you know, I'm not just a former player. I'm a fan. I love the game. That's a fun team to watch. It's a fun team to come out and see, and you got some characters on that team. You never know what you're going to get. I'm shocked that Schwarber, who I thought was just going to be a superstar, ended up getting sent down this year. But, you know, BJ's right. He does have some good power numbers, so some things click. Those guys, once again, as we all know, will be very, very dangerous. But I like the fact that the Braves are hot.
Braves are hot, and Braves country, you better come ready to yell loud and proud because the Cubs fans travel too. It should be a crazy atmosphere here starting tomorrow night. So Jaime Garcia, 7 terrific innings. He'll take the rest of the afternoon off. Luke Jackson is on to pitch. He's got the top of the Arizona order in the 8th, and A.J. Pollock fouls the first one away.
Luke getting some work, and in case you missed it, he gets lefties out better than righties, so this is a big at-bat, that first at-bat. AJ being a righty, I'd like to see him keep that leadoff man off base.
Quiet day for Pollock. He's 0 for 3. And out of play. And headed for the seats to the right and out of play.
You brought up a good point. I like the fans. We've had some record nights here at SunTrust Park. A lot of people. I think we're ready for the Cubs fans.
They'll be here.
Yep.
You'll hear them. Hopefully Julio Teheran can silence them tomorrow night. Braves are 6 outs away from getting back to 500. Fly ball pretty well hit. Kemp going back shy of the track. Glasses gleaming's got it. And Pollock is 0 for 4. Here's Peralta.
Nice read right there by Matt Kemp. Going back on the ball very easy. SunTrust Park, the ball jumps. Every time you get that warning track fly ball, you get a little nervous. Nice to see him rein that in. This is a park where you can certainly make your pitch and sometimes not be rewarded.
102 home runs at SunTrust Park. This is the 45th home game. About 2.25 homers per game in the Braves' new home. Ground ball into the shift. Peralta will be handled by Dansby Swanson. 2 outs. That's a 6-3 put out if you're scoring at home.
Nice work by the Braves advanced scouting department as we put the shift on. Outfield was played straight up. So that's a pull straight up. Infield played to pull, outfield played straight. That's a good feeling as, I'm sorry, Chip, that's a good feeling as a pitcher. You get a hit that appears to be going up the middle and your guys are right there. You know they're there, but it's still weird when you see a ball go right past your left leg.
Well, how much of that is positioning? How much of that is pitch execution?
It's a little of both. If you don't execute your pitch, then the defense, you know, doesn't always matter. You know, if you're throwing soft hard, you may shift a little bit and move, and the infielders may move a little bit with the pitch depending on how they want to play it. But it's just nice to see a game plan when you take away a hit and you're on the mound.
Dansby to his left, charges and flips to first, and Adams a nice dig at the first base bag. Arizona's retired in order in the 8th. The Braves on their way. 7-1 is your score late.
Local Toyota dealer. Let's go places. And SunTrust.
Lazy, hazy day of summer unless you're a Braves hitter. They've scored 7 runs, 8 hits. Jaime Garcia is allowed a run on 4 hits. As the Braves now edging closer to a 3-game sweep. Come out to SunTrust Park Friday, August 25th and get your very own Freddie Freeman bobblehead doll. Brought to you by Xfinity. The first 20,000 fans at the ballpark get their Freddie Freeman bobblehead. The Colorado Rockies are in town for their lone visit to Atlanta. Place to go to get your seats is Braves.com/tickets. And as always, the Braves encourage fans to use the Waze app, to use ride-sharing services, and to purchase their parking in advance to make your, as they would say in Washington, ingress and egress at SunTrust Park as easy as possible. If you don't speak Washingtonese, that means to make getting to and leaving the ballpark as easy as possible.
So we have an Ed Magnin sighting coming out on the field. So sometimes at the end of the game, there's too big a hole. And if you are the same size, or if you land in the same spot as the other pitchers, everybody lands usually a little bit different. But if by chance you are landing in a large hole, sometimes you got to get that fixed. Very important that your front foot is comfortable when it hits the ground, or you can't throw strikes.
And that's quite a trench that's been dug out on the front side of the pitcher's mound.
Only the finest bottled water going into that.
Oh, that's from the mystical waters of the Chattahoochee Falls.
There you go. The Georgia beam clay with a tamp, and we'll be good to go. Why do I know this stuff, Chip? Because I was on grounds crew duty as a freshman at LSU.
Yeah.
And we learned how to rebuild a mound because we snuck out one night before a big series against the University of Florida, and we raised the mound thinking nobody would know, but we didn't know what we were doing. And what I mean by that is we were not acquainted with slope and angle and everything that was needed. So we just built up the pitching rubber and we forgot to raise the landing area. So it wasn't the greatest wedge. So when you came down, you were actually letting the ball go before your foot hit the ground, which was not good. So it threw everybody off except Ben McDonald, who is 6'7", who was able to make that stride length.
Yeah, I was going to say, things worked out pretty well for Ben. No arm injuries. That's the big miracle.
There you go.
As you see the work continuing here at SunTrust Park. We've got a few moments. Let's send it out to Rebecca and BJ for more on this beautiful Sunday afternoon.
All right, thank you very much. And we hope you stick around immediately following this game because we've got a jam-packed show for you coming up on Braves Live post-game. We're going to have reaction from the clubhouse on what's been a great series so far for the Braves, kicking off the second half of the season after the All-Star break. And, of course, we're going to have to break down Jaime Garcia's day.
Jaime Garcia, a breakthrough game for him after not being good for the last 4 games. I like what I saw out of him, and this offense continues to explode.
All right, we hope to see you right here immediately after the game for Braves Live. Guys, back to you.
Okay, Rebecca and Brian, we will be happy to join you as Ed Mangan is putting the finishing touches on the work on the mound. When he's finished, McFarland will have his assortment of warm-up pitches to take. And he will pronounce the mound ready to go, we hope. And looks like everything's in order. So let's update you on the scores. Miami's trying to come back at home on the Dodgers 3-2. The story in that game is LA and their tremendous record. The other side of that is Paul, the Marlins. They are in the process of being sold. There's no deal yet, but it's said that Miami's going to finally try to break up that team and move some of those pieces to rebuild their franchise and maybe even increase the team's value.
Should we try to pick up Stanton?
Well, Stanton, Yelich, Bohr, Ozuna. I mean, pretty much the for sale sign's out on everybody.
Wow.
Including JT Realmuto, who's a terrific catcher. So I think the Marlins will be a fascinating team to catch. And they said as much coming out of the break. They had to have a hot streak to get back in the wild card standings. Standings still pretty much bunched up among the teams not leading their divisions. And this is what remains for teams in the wild card chase against Atlanta. 3 left with the Cardinals, 7 left with the Cubs, 7 left with Colorado, including a home-and-home series. And the Braves have 4 with the Arizona Diamondbacks, including the completion of today's game. And so while Atlanta is down 9.5 games to Washington in the East, barring an epic collapse, it's going to be really tough for Atlanta to catch the Nationals. If the Braves run the table or have a good run of luck against all of those clubs, to a certain degree, they do control their own destiny in the wild card situation. As things stand now, the Braves are 6 games behind Colorado for the second wild card. They're 8 games behind Arizona for the #1 wild card. And the Braves will be playing the Cubs, Rockies, and Arizona, the 3 teams directly in front of them in the wild card race.
Well, this is what we wanted. We wanted the games to mean something, a fun team to follow, a fun team to watch. They have done that, provided a lot of late inning heroics. They hustle, can beat you different ways. And these games are going to matter. So this will be a fun time to be an Atlanta Braves fan and see what happens.
And look, we don't know how it's going to turn out. That's why we play. But after today, there are 72 games left. And the history of baseball is filled with stories of teams catching fire, teams collapsing in the second half of the year. Look no further than the '91 Braves. I'm not saying the 2017 Braves are the 1991 Braves.
Right.
Not in any way, shape, or form. But you get on a roll, sometimes for the good or the bad, that roll is hard to stop as McFarland strikes out Matt Adams for the first out. And this is why, as you said, Paul, and I agree with you, there's so much good stuff to talk about with the Atlanta Braves. 3rd best record in Major League Baseball since mid-June.
last 13 home games, as you see, 5.4 runs a game. And even the Braves farm system, #1 in all of baseball. So this is not a period of time where it's a one-stop shop or a 1 year, let's go. This is a team that you could make some deals, you could be buyers, you could be sellers, and get yourself better either way to challenge for the rest of the year. But the bottom line is this organization is set up to win for the long haul.
Well, and I think that's on another conversation what's exciting about this time of year too. The last couple of years we all knew that the Braves were going to be selling at the deadline.
Yes.
Now that they're at 500, again, get to 500, see where you are. There's a chance the Braves could sell, but they could also add younger, controllable players without sacrificing their top players in the farm system, which is exactly what the Nationals did when they made their deal with Oakland to supplement their bullpen.
Yeah, and you look at guys like Danny Santana, who went 5 for 5, and Kelsey said RBI. It's RBIs with the big game. And then you look at Camargo, who's created a little bit of a good problem up here. You want to keep him in the lineup. And then you look at guys like Acuna, who are possibly the next Andrew Jones, who came up and hit the big home runs against the Yankees. And all of a sudden you see a pattern and you say, man, I could make some trades here, bring up a young guy or two, maybe get better but not get any worse, and get something from somebody that I trade for that's a perfect piece of the puzzle to fit with the young guys coming up. So there's a lot of different options that John Hart, as we saw, and Copy could go.
Well, to me, I think that's the great word, options. The Braves have choices. They have different avenues they can pursue, not just with one player or two players, but a whole host of players, not only on their roster, but other rosters as well.
This is where we need your former partner Steve Stone, who liked to be a GM.
Yeah. Little roller hit toward third. Lamb is there and makes the play. And the wool wasn't pulled over his eyes. He read that very well and takes care of the Braves in the 8th inning. Couldn't resist. 9th inning, 7-1. Atlanta the lead.
By Xfinity. Xfinity X1 will change the way you experience TV. And by Delta Airlines.
Time for the 9th inning. 7-1 Atlanta, 3 outs away from a 3-game sweep. Delta Airlines presents a free MC Hammer postgame concert Saturday, August 19th. The Reds will be in town. Get your field passes for only $20 today. Visit Braves.com MC Hammer and be a part of the party. Big crowd today in Atlanta, 36,637. The Braves drew 117,000 plus fans over the 3-game series, an average of over 39,000 customers in this series with the Diamondbacks. That's awesome. Camargo in at third, Freeman in at first, Akil Morris will try to wrap it up for Jaime Garcia.
If you haven't seen Akil Moore's throw, he has an excellent changeup.
Braves got him from the Mets in one of their Kelly Johnson trades.
There it is right there, Chip. That is nasty. Coming out of the same arm angle as the fastball. His body motion, I hope he throws another one. Watch him sell this. Wow, arm going straight down. Almost more arm action than his fastball. Leg coming up. And there it is.
Almost like a hard screwball.
Yeah, it just doesn't get there. And those are the best changeups, like Hoffman. Just an optical illusion where you really sell it with that body. Has the exact same spin as a fastball, four-seam spin, and just doesn't get there.
Akil is out of St. Thomas in the Virgin Islands.
I wanted to come up with an MC Hammer reference, like can't touch this, but after your Lamb jokes, I just can't compete.
Don't be sheepish, Paul. We've got plenty of time to work that in. 2 balls, 2 strikes. There's the change. Owings didn't get it. Swing and a miss. And there's the first out in the 9th inning.
I love watching pitchers throw with great changeups because you'll see a lot of swings like that. Ball down. Bottom drops out of it. Simply awesome.
Mentioned MC Hammer. He has a terrific baseball connection. MC Hammer is the stage name of the man named Stanley Burrell, who was hired as an executive vice president while he was a teenager by Charlie Finley, who owned the Oakland A's at the time. Charlie Finley was an insurance executive, owned an insurance company, and lived in Kansas City, I believe, or Chicago, and wasn't in Oakland all the time. So he hired a young man who later became MC Hammer to, quote, be his eyes and ears in Oakland. He was basically a paid informant,
a spy
for Charlie Finley while he was out of town. And of course, well, went on to achieve worldwide fame with his terrific musical career. So he'll be performing a medley of his hits when the Reds are in town next month. 1 ball, 2 strikes for Jake Lamb, and that just missed. Burrell's not the only famous star to come out of that Oakland organization who wasn't a player. Debbie Fields was a Batgirl with Oakland, who had a penchant for baking. Later became internationally known as Mrs. Fields. Chocolate chip cookies.
This is fantastic.
You can look it up. 2 balls, 2 strikes. That's way upstairs for Lamb. It's now a full count. Leicester and Tehran here tomorrow night. Braves live at 7 o'clock. First pitch 7:35. John Lester got tattooed a time back, and that takes care of Lamb, who's got the hat trick. 3 strikeouts for him. Morris has 2 strikeouts in the 9th.
Now he's coming with the heat. 94 up and away. That's what the changeup does right there. It makes your fastball better. So if you have a great changeup, and guys know that they don't want to look stupid, the next thing you know, your fastball is a whole lot better.
So the Braves will say to Jake Lamb, we'll see you in the desert, as he's the second out.
Very, very hard as a hitter to sit changeup, sit a good changeup, and catch up to 94.
Ketel Marte, the final hope for the Diamondbacks. And he scorches one to center, and how apropos is that? Former Diamondback Ender Inciarte puts it away. And Paul, your Broom prediction came true. Atlanta sweeps the Arizona Diamondbacks. Game 3 final 7-1. The offense was terrific again, hitting a couple of home runs. And Jaime Garcia snapped a 4-game personal losing streak as Atlanta combines on a 1-run, 4-hit effort against the Arizona Diamondbacks, who fall for the 11th time in their last 14 games. Good day all around for the Bravos.
Great day all around. My favorite part of this is the 8 hits, 7 runs. Braves maximizing their opportunity. Got to give credit to Garcia. Started tone early through strikes. Bounced back after a few rough starts.
7-1 is your final. Best news of all, the Braves are back to 500. We'll talk about that and more after a quick break.